right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our second episode of The Guardians Unplugged. Today I'm joined by my good friend Brian Kaelo. Brian Kaelo is a master's student in biology, specializing in ecology at the Wake University. He's also a conservation scientist trained in wildlife management at the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute, which is actually now referred to Wildlife Research Training Institute, based in Naivasha, Kenya. Brian also holds a bachelor's degree in environmental science from Catawba College. His work focuses mainly on ecology, but also wildlife conservation in Kenya and also here in the United States. So I'm really delighted. Thank you so much, Brian, for making the time to be with us here today. We're very excited. I look forward to learning more about you and the work that you do. I know we're very good friends. We've talked about this, but I would love you to share your story so our viewers can perhaps learn one or two from you. So thank you so much for joining us. Maybe just to start us briefly here, I know I provided a quick overview. Please just tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do and where you're currently based.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. That was a very wonderful introduction. My name is Brian Kaelo. I was born and raised in Kenya, Narok County, in the Masai Mara ecosystem, where myself and Sam actually come from, and that's a place we call home. And yeah, so that's myself. I grew up in the northern part of the Mara, a place called Kishu Conservancy, present day Kishu Conservancy, and the new adjacent Mbokishi Conservancy. So that's where I grew up with all my family. We are actually a very big family and actually very conservation oriented. So that's where I come from. That's where I grew up. And then I went to school locally, just around the Masai Mara. And then the way I was introduced to conservation at large, or how I found my path to what I'm doing today, is when I joined the Wildlife Research and Training Institute. And I think that's where my trajectory or sort of directions toward conservation to what I'm doing today actually started.
That's interesting, Brian, and thank you for sharing. Maybe just to let our viewers understand more, I know you mentioned that your trajectory towards what you do right now was informed by you joining the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how that also played a significant role in you choosing the track that you've chose.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually a very good introduction and sort of to take me back to how I was raised. I just grew up as a normal young Maasai boy, going to look after cattle as usual. So I was lucky enough to be born in this ecosystem, and my father was actually a pioneer conservationist because he was among the very few people who are educated back then. And he came along with these old men from the community, and they were among the first people who helped establish conservancies in the southern part of the Mara. So he was a member of the Olchoro Koirowa Conservancy, which is actually one of the oldest conservancy in the Masai Mara, and the only conservancies with the rhinos, the white rhinos in the Mara. So that's sort of my interactions with my dad and my brothers sort of nurtured myself into this topic of wildlife conservation. But even beyond that, where we grew up was sort of an in-between wildlife conservation and farming. So we were always in this transboundary area where we have wildlife conservation here, tourism going well, and then at this end we have very big fast lands of like growing corn, maize, wheat. So it was a very interesting upbringing because as I grew up, I already started looking at these things right away. You hear somebody has been trampled by an elephant, where they are like trying to prevent elephants from getting into their farm. At a young age, I remember every other time we will hear, "Oh, our livestock have been attacked by lions," or maybe the previous night we had some visits by predators around our homestead. So it was that common thing that I really grew up with, and I think sadly up to today, a lot of issues about human-wildlife conflict are still happening even as we speak. So that's how has been the journey.
Absolutely, and I honestly do share the same experiences with you. And also, just maybe to add on that, and I'm not trying to take this interview towards me, but also the fact that we all understand how important the Masai Mara ecosystem has been, both the conservancies but also the reserve to the Maasai community in general, in terms of being generational, an income generational resource that has provided employment, access to all, education, blah blah blah. So thank you for sharing.
I think just to touch on that, I think what I think is, when I'm here or whenever I go somewhere and give a talk, I think most of the time what comes to my mind is, if we didn't have Masai Mara, will I be here today?
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely an ecosystem that is looking upon us now, since our forefathers and our grandfathers actually took good care of it. Even before the establishment of conservancies present day, there were group ranches and there were animals were just roaming free. So I think it's sort of a responsibility for us to take care of this nature that's actually taking care of us.
And maybe before we dive into the discussion around Masai Mara, I know we'll come into that. We'll talk about your work with the Lions and Kenya Wildlife Trust. Let's come back to your schooling now. You're now a student at Wake Forest University. You're doing your master's. Maybe just tell us a little bit about the program that you are in and why you chose that program. And if you can, also you can briefly talk about Catawba College, which is also here in the US, where you did your bachelor's.
Let me just to give a very big history of how I ended up being here at Wake Forest University in North Carolina, or just the US at large. So after doing my wildlife management at the Wildlife Research and Training Institute, as it is now.
I know it's very hard. It's confusing now with Christie and the new name. So I don't blame you.
I know. We always used to say the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute. I mean, it's the same program. They're still doing the same thing, but
it's just a new name. It's a whole parastatal in itself now.
Which is good, and they're actually doing well. We've been following what they're doing, and it's interesting. So I was introduced to this. So when I went for my internship in the Masai Mara, I was introduced to this organization called the Kenya Wildlife Trust, who actually sponsored my education, the Wildlife Research and Training Institute. And I was introduced there in this field. I was sort of interested with mostly trying to understand how do lions or how do cats move around in this ecosystem. So when I went to my internship, I put myself, because I was sort of jumping from one department to another. So I remember I started with the community department, and this actually involved us going out in the field and interacting one-on-one with the people in the ground, talk of herders, talk of the women who are actually in the village, talk of all the men who are sort of the leaders in these villages. So it was that big more of going out in the field and talking to people who are actually going through problems related to human-wildlife conflict, and also trying to bridge the gap and sort of bringing solution to these issues that are going through. So and then I shifted to the research program. The research program is actually where my roots towards what I'm doing now started getting intact. And one of my friends introduced me to lion monitoring, which I actually did a lot. And this actually involved going out in the field and taking pictures of lions, and then IDing each and every individual lion. And for the first time that I actually knew how to identify and differentiate different lions as soon as they are born, as soon as you see the whisker spot. So the whisker spots in lions actually tell you can tell lions apart by looking at their whisker spot pattern, because they're all unique and different, just the way as me and you have different fingerprints. So that's actually how it is in the lions. So I was introduced to this field, and I took a lot of time and interacted with scientists while in the Mara. And so to take you back how I connected to coming to the US. So I was given so after my internship, I was given a job actually. That means I actually did well during my internship. I just went home after some time and then came back, and I was delighted that my first salary was actually after my internship. So I got this amazing opportunity actually doing what I like, and I went all through the Masai Mara ecosystem recording lions, and we used to have what we call the intensive monitoring session, and it used to happen 2 times in a year. So we had February, March and April, that's during the high rain season and outside the migration, and then we used to have in August, September and October. So one of the key points is this is actually scientifically done, and we are the main aim was trying to understand the difference between these 2 seasons, and between the migration season and the outside migration season. So I collected a lot of data, not just about lions, but different predators, including herbivores, including the grass, so a landscape at large. And I was delighted, and that's actually how I know the Mara, because if I can tell you, I can take you to every corner of the Mara. And
it's a very expansive ecosystem.
Yeah, and it actually opened up me knowing more and more people, and I connected to more people. And even now when I go to the ground, I'm very, very well I really get along with the people, because it sort of like put me in that situation where I have to sort of communicate and know people more. Before I visit a conservancy, I have to know the manager, get some rangers, get along with some people. So it's a very good ecosystem that I actually miss while I'm here. Yeah, so if you want me to go ahead and explain how I ended up getting an opportunity to come to the US. So when I was working as a research assistant, through our then director, Dr. Irina Moke, which I'm very, very grateful. This opportunity came. There was a college in the United States that's actually environment and sustainability focus and conservation at large, is looking for a candidate, and mostly from the Mara. And it turned out to be 2 of us. There's actually one guy from the Serengeti and one guy and myself. So it was sort of an in-between and who they were going to choose. And the process was what was going to actually tell who was going to get this wonderful opportunity. So I did all the requirements, I submitted all my papers, and I was delighted that I was chosen to this wonderful program, which I'm very, very grateful. I did all the necessary things that everyone does. It's a very long process.
But I understand.
but I ended up landing here in the United States, and then I was connected to a very small college called Catawba College in North Carolina. Actually, not very far from where I am actually studying now. It's only 45 minutes down the road.
Okay.
And at Catawba, I didn't actually lose track of the Mara Predator Conservation Program, or KWT at large, when I was here in the US. So I came to this program where I did a bachelor's in environmental science. And one of my projects actually included me going back to the Mara and collecting data. So every summer I used to go back home, and alongside that I used to have at least a month or 2 where I go back to KWT and still work with them. So this has, beyond me coming to the United States, I still had this connection with KWT and the Mara at large, even at a far distance.
Okay.
Yeah. And then thank you, Sam.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You had the point. Analyze that.
So the question was how I found myself here now at Wake Forest University. So after completing my bachelor's, actually last year, the good thing with the US system is you can always start applying school even before you finish your undergraduate. So the credits that you have in your first and second and third year are able to get you a position in an upcoming graduate program, as long as you finish all the courses and you have like good GPA. Obviously you do interviews. So I was so happy I did my interview when I was at Catawba College, and I was connected to Wake Forest by my undergraduate professors who actually know this lab very well. And also one of my mentors, maybe I can mention earlier, called Craig Parker, who is a big lion ecologist. So I was introduced to Wake Forest through a lab, my advisor now called Dr. Michael Anderson. So he runs a lab at the Serengeti. So right now I'm doing ecology, not in the Serengeti, but in the Mara. But that doesn't mean I'll just, Mara and the Serengeti are just the same ecosystem.
It's the same ecosystem, yeah.
So, yeah, so that's how I found myself here at Wake Forest now. So I'm actually a first year master's student doing masters in biology, specializing in ecology.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Brian. I know we've talked about these, you and I, we've had a chat about your research interests. You've mentioned drones, you've mentioned, livestock part, and maybe, and I know you're currently in your second semester, you're streamlining your research objectives for your thesis. Maybe briefly, just take like 2 minutes, tell us a little bit about your research interest and how it is very important for the Mara ecosystem and the community at large.
Just to take you back about my research and what I actually do is more of sort of directly correlated to human-wildlife conflict in a way, but sort of scientific way of understanding the landscape and understanding what goes on. And as we all know, there's an enormous pressure in the Masai Mara. We have livestock, we have livelihood, like people are important, we have tourism, and this is a very fragile ecosystem. So at first, going back to human-wildlife conflict, what I did as my research in the undergrad, I was actually looking at the lion lights. Actually, this idea was behind my friend Richard Turere. And he grew up in, there's a very good story about him, about how the lion lights help reduce predator attacks. So I was actually behind sort of trying to understand does this work in the Mara, and what has been the progress. So we selected 60 households in the Mara, and we got through KWT, we had a grant, and KWT put up I think 60 homesteads with lion lights. So I took this as an opportunity where I went ahead and looked at 30 homesteads with lights and 30 without, and then comparing over several months what has been the report on human predator conflicts. So I did this survey just after we put the lights, and then after coming back after several months, I think we gave a break of about 8 or 9 months. After coming back, asking the same people, the one with the lights, 30 homesteads with the lights and 30 without, and sort of compare what has been happening. So the results actually showed a drastic decrease in predator attacks in homesteads with the lights as compared to those without the lights. I mean, the ones with the lights didn't actually record zero, but the data clearly showed that the number of attacks of predators inside corrals or homesteads actually reduced significantly. So going forward, I mean, predators are smart and they also get educated. So I was thinking maybe after a few years, maybe going back to see if these predators actually are getting habituated or like learning something that this is nothing but just lights. So yeah, so coming back to Wake Forest, what I'm doing for my first year's prospectus, that's actually what I'm doing right now. Then this is the first year's prospectus is what you do prior to going to the field. It's sort of like a preparation that you get before you go and collect your data. Yeah. So, but in my position, I was lucky enough because of my connection with KWT and the data that we were actually collecting out in the field. So I'm now using the herbivore counts that we've been collecting over the years, and sort of trying to understand how do these herbivores affect the distribution of how do livestock affect the distribution of wild herbivores in this landscape. As we all know, we have rotational grazing in these conservancies, and then the rotational grazing might be different from one conservancy to another. So I was trying to understand, because we have an increase in the number of livestock right now, obviously a return of benefit, what we get from tourism. The only investment that we can actually do that is doable with wildlife conservation is keeping livestock. Yeah, so I'm trying to understand, because there's an enormous increase in the number of livestock in the Mara over the years. So how does this affect herbivores? At some point, you might find it actually positive, because from what me and you actually observe now, when you go to the National Reserve, you see very big and tall grass. But when you come to the conservancies, you see like grass at a carpet level. So, what you see, you always associate the short grass with grand gazelle, Thompson gazelles, like the bottom feeders. So this association of trying to understand might actually be beneficial to like small-bodied organisms or species, as compared to something like a buffalo, which they have like a direct competition with cows, for example.
Cows, yeah.
So at the moment, that's what I'm trying to understand, and also using a drone to sort of understand at a landscape view what has been changing with the vegetation. So looking at areas that have high livestock and areas without livestock.
Okay, that's interesting, and I'm hoping, because your study focus, it's quite interesting, and I think it's timely and it's needed, especially within the Mara. I'm hoping that you will perhaps come back to Guidance and Plug, and you can share your findings with our viewers, so we can also learn something from your findings. So is that a deal? Are you coming back?
Yeah, of course.
Share the findings after your research?
Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
perfect.
I think what we do at some point, and this is actually the direction, because as we all know, we are the Mara, we are the custodians of the Mara. I think we also ought to have more understanding what happens with in this landscape. Mm-hmm. And I think I'll definitely thank KWT, because KWT has been sort of taking students from the local community to school, for them to be the future managers who are coming to solve the problem that they actually do understand more than somebody coming from a completely different location and sort of coming to help us solve what we can actually do.
Yeah, and we will come back to that. We'll come back to benefits of conservation, and also the role of organizations like KWT play in terms of nurturing the future generation of conservationists that will enable us to continue protecting this resource. But I wanted to mention something. The reason why we also have this platform, the reason why Jackson and I started Guidance and Plug, is so that we can bring out the voice and create a platform for young professionals like you, and especially from our Maasai community that are in this field, to come out and share their stories, but also showcase the work that you're doing, which is sometimes we don't have the platform to come out and speak, but also share your ideas and also share some of the findings from your research, because I understand that it's needed, but also we have the experience, we have the understanding, we've grown up in this ecosystem. So as we continue going to school, as you combine the two, you combine your upbringing experience plus your knowledge from school, I think that is a plus. So I'm looking forward to your finding. Once you're done with your masters, you will come back and tell us what you've seen from your research. So thank you so much for providing that overview. But I want us to go back to KWT, because I think I'm really interested in understanding, and I'm very sure our viewers are really interested in understanding your day-to-day activity as a lion researcher. Because I think it's quite interesting, because you see that guy is there just doing research on lions, but we don't understand what are you actually doing. So let's go back to Mara Predator Conservation Program and the work that you do. Can you just briefly tell our viewers, as you wake up in the morning, how do you start your day? As you go out to the field, what are you looking for, and how do you coordinate all that with your team?
It's a very complex and interesting journey, because at first we all go out in the field, mostly for tourism, going and look at, oh, I want to see a lion, I want to see, just to have yourself, like to make yourself happy, okay? Which is actually good. But waking up as a researcher, as a research assistant, one of the first things that you need to know is you have to wake up early in the morning. I remember we used to wake up at around, at least latest 6, you should be out of the camp. As we all know, predators are very active in the morning, and for you to capture this is mostly towards the first light, because when it gets like around 10 or 11, it gets hot, and lions will be somewhere resting because of the high metabolism. They want to rest, and probably eating a lot of meat, so they want to rest. And obviously you know we are in the tropics, so it gets very hot in the equator. So my daily activity, waking up in the morning, going out in the field, I have my camera, I have my binoculars with me, I have what I'm actually recording my data. So we used as an inbuilt app called a cyber tracker that records your location every 10 seconds. And then whenever you come across a herbivore or a predator, so it just takes you through and you sort of like answer questions based on what you see. So it's sort of like a large overview of observation of what you see, and then it takes you a lot long at the same location. So as you drive, you have the track, and that's actually our effort. So it shows how far you've gone and where you've covered over the landscape. So I go out there, I find a group of lions. What do? There are 20 lions there. I don't take first of all, you can take a group picture of the lions, but then you dig deep inside and have each and every profile of each and every individual lions, from the biggest to the smallest or whatever. But at least at the end of that sighting, you gotta make sure that you have each and every individual lion differentiated, actually even in your pictures. So I take these pictures, I record the lions, how many males are there, how many females are there. So it's the most you can get. It's actually beneficial, because science, you might come up with any other more questions that data might be helpful for you to answer. So it's a very enormous experience, and a very good one also, because you get very close with these lions. Because when you're driving a research vehicle, that means you're not just jumping from one predator or like from one sighting to another. It makes sure that you really take time to observe these predators, observe their behavior, and record whatever you see, because that will help us understand and answer questions about these predators. So then after, so normally, because we do it like early in the morning and late in the evening, in the morning it sort of take you maybe from 6 a.m. to around like 10, 11. And then because we all know like cheetahs are actually active around like 9, 10, just right after the lions. So because we are also monitoring not just lions, so that made us extend some time. And I remember we used to come back from the field at around 11 at most. And given that you drive further away from your office, so sometimes you're forced to go camp, because driving back and forth, that means you're using a lot of gas in your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what happens with the findings? For example, I know in case you find a lion that is injured, in case you find there is a lion that is missing in a pride, what then happens? And for your research and the findings that you collect, what do you do with them? Who are the stakeholders that you report to, or how do you then share the data?
So apart from just the normal reporting of cases that you find in the field, maybe you find an injured lion, or you find a sick one, or actually for us as scientists, we are not very focused mostly with natural, like if you find 2 lions fighting and one dies, as scientists, you are not supposed to interfere.
Yeah, it's a natural phenomena. So
that's a natural phenomena that we are not supposed to interfere, unless it's something that's actually human related, or like a lion has been speared. That's understandable. So what we do with the data, you come back to the office, you sort each and every profile to an individual lion. So we have a database in the office. So you first ID all these lions. And then this data is then analyzed. And the reason for like putting this data together is sort of to understand what are the trends, what is the density of these predators in the landscape. Are we having an increase in the number of lions, in the number of cheetahs, or what is happening in the number of predators? So that's basically it's trying to understand the numbers, and not really the numbers, but trying to understand what is the nature of lions. Are we losing more lions? Are we having a stable population? And good news in the matter, over the last few years after our monitoring, we've had a stable lion population. That means it's not really going up and it's not going down.
I was about to ask that question, whether you're seeing the increase in population of lions and cheetahs or decrease in population. So it's just basically stable.
So we've had the years where we've had like a few numbers, but it's not significant enough for you to say these numbers are shooting way high for you to conclude and say we are actually having so many lions. So it's been like, so the trend has been like, if this year goes up, next year is down. So we've sort of like have an in-between lion. We've said like lions. It's so hard for us to say like we have a specific number of lions. Okay. But the densities have been really, really great. And if I remember, it's something between like 500 and 400 lions in the Mara. That's excluding the cubs. That's excluding the cubs, because cubs below the age of 1 year are very, very susceptible. There's a very high mortality rate in cubs just because of the normal life and situation of nature. A lot of them don't survive.
That seems to be a very interesting job, Brian. I know, getting out there and just spending time with the lions. I'm really jealous with the work that you're doing. But and also, just a quick question just to clarify. Yes, Masai Mara and the greater Serengeti Mara ecosystem is leading with the population of lions, right? Across Kenya, for example. Yeah.
So, I mean, across Kenya, actually, in the Mara, we have a very good number of lions. I think in Kenya, I think it's documented as, I think around 2,000 or something lions. But in the Serengeti is leading, given that it's a big ecosystem, is actually leading globally in the number of lions.
Let's come to the human-lion interaction. Because we are saying, of course, there's increase in livestock population. There's, of course, increase in human settlement. We've seen, growth in the number of tourism facilities, which has been a very controversial topic right now in the Masai Mara and in the political space. What are some of the? I want to focus on the science-based solutions that you've observed that we need to do within the Mara to continue. And I know you mentioned that you've already done the study between the villages that have the lion lights and villages that do not have the lion lights, and you've observed the impacts on that. Maybe just what are some of the science-based solutions you've observed, but also KWT has observed over the years that we need to continue to protect lions within the Mara?
I think I take it to that direction because the Mara Predator Conservation Program, I speak highly of the Mara Predator Conservation Program because I have been involved and I actually know what's happening. I mean, there is a lot of other organizations in the Mara that are actually doing a great job. But from the perspective of the Mara Predator Conservation Program, what they do, first of all, what they realize is sometimes attacks happen at night, but when you go back to the village and sort of see how easy these predators can get into these bomas, just makes you wonder, why don't somebody just sell out of maybe 100 cattle, just sell 2 of your cattle or 3 of your cattle to protect the other ones. Just have a proper enclosure. So KWT has been trying to help the community implement and have these things called predator-proof bomas. We are actually easy, and I mean, people can afford it because they have livestock. They can sell this livestock and have these proper enclosures. That's one way of mitigating actually home attacks, because as we realize, when an attack happens inside a boma, more livestock are going to get to be lost at night compared when attack happens outside. This is because when it's outside, a predator will just snatch one and go. But most of the time when it actually gets into the boma, so predators are sort of this way that when they see any movement, they always like want to attack. So that makes them healing even more when they are actually inside. So that's one way. Another way is MPCP is doing is actually going out and training the people who are actually in the ground. This goes to herders, actually the proper ways of herding, and don't let your, I know it's an holiday, don't let your kid go and take these 100 herds of cattle to a conservancy by themselves. I mean, when a lion comes, that will be an easy, predators are going for an easy kill that will definitely have them lose less energy as they attack. So I think there is a lot of mitigation measures that are actually happening. Those are just a few, just to mention. Training and making people informed, and at large, I think people now understand the importance of predators and wildlife at large. So retaliation is slowly going down, because one of the things KWT was doing was going out, doing the anti-poison campaigns. Don't poison an animal, because if you poison a hyena, that will be a long chain of other species being killed that are very innocent. And then I think it also goes back to how conservancies are doing now. For example, Naboisho, I think they have sort of a way that they come together and collectively, when they get a monthly stipend or a monthly return of their land rates or the money, they set aside some money that whenever somebody loses livestock, they compensate. I mean, the government and at large is supposed to compensate, but I know it's been taking years, people wait. But what I can urge is, don't wait, just report whatever you lose, because I think there is a very well structured way that you can actually record your losses. So I mean, in the future you'll get compensated, but I think people are getting more and more tolerant towards wildlife than they were before.
Maybe just moving now, more broadly, lions exist within this ecosystem, the Masai Mara ecosystem. It's a world famous destination. We all know it. Even here, you meet people, when you mention that you're Maasai, you're from Masai Mara, most of them even know. They say, oh, wow, I know about Masai Mara. I know about the Maasai community. So this resource is continuing to face some significant pressure, both from, like I mentioned, population increase, tourism, all those aspects. And we need to continue to protect it for present generation, but also for the future. Okay, what are some of the key ideas or recommendations or strategies you think the Masai Mara can continue to adopt to make sure that we have this resource intact, well protected? Like I mentioned, for the present generation, but for also the future generation. Can you just, out of your own experience, and you can also highlight some of the challenges that you see or issues that you see within the Mara as you continue doing your research, and what can we do?
Yeah, just as you mentioned, whenever you go here around the US and globally, if you meet, I think, a group of at least a few people, there's always someone who knows something about the Mara and the Maasai at large. What does that tell you? That tells you that ecosystem is very, very important. And as I go down, I think it's our responsibility as people, as custodians, as people who grew there, who've seen the benefits actually. I think it's our sole responsibility to go back and take care of this ecosystem. Otherwise, if we don't, we are actually going to lose it. And I don't think it's a good way that we really want to see this resource going away from us, since it's not just for us, but for posterity, like future generations. So I think there is a lot of challenges going on right now in the Mara. We have a lot of lodges. I don't know if you've read, there is actually a very good paper by KWT that actually came out this year, just showing how lodges and camps have been built in the riparian areas and where actually lions are actually used to reside. So how these camps are actually like sort of taking these spaces. So I think regulating these spaces and like we've had a management plan in the Masai Mara, so which is actually a very, very good thing that happened over the last, I think it took long before that management plan came into before it was passed. So I think making sure that we actually follow that management plan, that's actually the way forward, because everything has been outplayed, and it actually took so long for people to actually sit down and develop that management plan, and it's actually in the law. So if you go against the management plan, we are actually breaking the law. So but it goes back to just us as individuals. What can I do to make this ecosystem change? If I go home today, if I go see somebody harassing wildlife while I'm there, or myself as a guide, or myself as somebody who is going out there, I think I heard somebody say, let's not just take these as is it for now. Let's go out there, look for these animals, and actually take care of them for the future, and not just for now. We have them now, and we're actually enjoying. Think of what is going to happen in the near future. So there's a lot of pressure going on, that increase in the number of livestock, obviously. One way to do that, which is actually a program that is being implemented by, I think, KWT and KWCA, and I think MMWCA. So I think they were doing something to do with, it's called the livelihood program. So it's a balance between livestock and wildlife, and the goal is sort of to educate or inform people to have few livestock, but actually of good breeds. Instead of me having 100 cattle, have 50 which are actually or same or equal or high in terms of value compared to the many cattle that I have. So I think it's going towards the good direction. There's a lot of challenges, but I feel like one thing that I always see is, let's not take these to be sort of a game of blame. I think it's a collective responsibility for people in the ground, people here, however, how far you are, for us to take care of this fragile ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. That's, I can't even put it better than the way you've put it. I think at the end of the day, the responsibility falls on us as community members living around that ecosystem, but also as professionals in this industry, to continue advocating and also being the custodians of this resource. So yeah, thank you so much, Brian. Maybe just before I know we're almost out of time here, just looking ahead after your masters, what are your plans? I know it can be sometimes a little bit private, but just tell us a little bit about your plans post your masters. Are you planning to go back and continue working with Kenya Wildlife Trust? Do you want to continue doing your research within the Masai Mara ecosystem? Yeah.
Just to mention, I think, of course, this topic was mostly centered towards understanding the Masai Mara. Up here, there's also a lot going on, and I have been involved in different projects here in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So just thinking beyond the Masai Mara, or how I can help the Masai Mara, or how I can be of positive value when I'm here, I think it's more centered more into creating more partnership, making more people informed, and looking for resources, because we all know, if you want change, you want to do something, you want to uplift the livelihood of people back home, not just for yourself. It's sort of creating a way in which people can actually benefit from what they are actually having as a source of livelihood. So I think my whole goal and point is trying as much as possible to create partnership here. I can't really say that I'm gonna stay here. Who knows? If I get a good job that is of impact, not just to myself, but to what I'm actually studying, I might consider it. But also, that doesn't mean I can't go back home. I can go back home and help with even more and improved skills from what I get from my masters, from what I get from people here, because you understand, when you come to a different continent, different people, is also something you learn. So I think going forward, I still have a long way to go. I can't lie, I still have a lot, like a master's. So I still have a few years here in the United States, but I think my goal here is sort of creating partnership and making people informed about what goes on in the Mara, and sort of trying to help bring solutions rather than just avoiding what we can actually fix, because it's actually fixable and it's actually us who can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. That has been Brian Kaelo. Brian Kaelo, we really appreciate your time today. And maybe just before we end this interview, is just to encourage you as a researcher, encourage you as a member of the Maasai community to continue being the voice of the Maasai Mara, but also being also the voice of the Maasai community. So thank you so much for your time. You've shared a lot of information here today. I'm hoping to bring you back. We agreed after your masters. It's a deal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam, and I appreciate. Thank you. I know I'm the very first people in your Guardians and Flag, and continuing doing this. And one thing that I can actually tell the people back, like in Kenya or in Masai Mara, because our topic has been centered towards them. I think if we don't take care of the Mara is not going to take care of us as it is now. So I think that all the benefits, all the livelihoods are all, even just that good environment that we are actually enjoying, it's not everywhere. It's unique to us, so we all have the responsibility to take care of it.
Thank you so much for coming to Guardians Unplugged. It's been interesting. There's a lot that I've learned, and I'm very sure even for our viewers, there's a lot they've learned. So so we look forward to another episode. Please leave a comment in our YouTube channel. Tell us who we can invite. You've had some things that have came up here, whether it's somebody who can talk about conservancies and their role for conservation, stakeholders and their role for conservation, and all that. So please reach out to us, leave a comment, please subscribe, share, and also like. So thank you so much, Brian. It's been an honor having you.